Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. Today, I will be presenting the paper titled Meditation from the Perspective of Advaita Vedānta, authored by Mahadevan Menon, PhD research scholar from the University of Mumbai. This research paper consists of 13 pages, 3,330 words, and a flowchart. This research paper primarily is based on the works of Adi Shankara, like Sadhana Panchakam, Ātma-bodha, and Viveka Chudamani, and 3 works of Swami Chinmayananda on the Holy Gita, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and Mundaka Upanishad. This research paper examines meditation not as a wellness practice, but as a philosophical and spiritual discipline within Advaita Vedanta. Rather than focusing on the physical or the psychological benefits commonly associated with meditation, this paper explores its role in self-realization. What is meditation in Advaita Vedanta? To begin with, it is important to distinguish between the popular understanding of meditation and the interpretation presented in Advaita Vedanta. In contemporary society, meditation is generally viewed as a technique for stress reduction, emotional well-being, improved concentration, or better physical health. While these benefits may indeed occur, but they are not the primary concern of Advaita Vedanta. According to this research, meditation is not an activity or merely something that one performs. Rather, it is a state of being. Its purpose is not relaxation, but self-realization. Therefore, the central question explored by this research is, how does meditation lead to self-realization rather than simply relaxation? This distinction forms a foundation for the rest of the discussion. Purpose of meditation in Advaita Vedanta. This paper explains that the ultimate purpose of meditation is liberation from the cycle of birth and death, known as moksha. The journey begins with avidya or ignorance, which causes individuals to identify solely with the body and mind. Through spiritual practice, one gradually becomes prepared for meditation. Meditation then leads to self-realization and ultimately to liberation. Unlike modern approaches that consider meditation as an end in itself, Advaita Vedanta views meditation as one stage within a larger spiritual process whose ultimate objective is freedom from ignorance. Who is ready for meditation? Before meditation can become effective, an individual must undergo adequate preparation. Drawing from the Yoga Shastra, the paper presents an 8-fold path consisting of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These stages begin with ethical living and personal discipline, progress through physical posture and breath regulation, and eventually cultivate concentration. Only after the mind has become disciplined and focused does true meditation or dhyana become possible. This demonstrates that meditation is not an isolated practice, but the result of sustained ethical, mental, and spiritual preparation. Yoga Vasishta's Sapta Bhumika. According to Yoga Vasishta, in the study of Sapta Bhumika, meditation is the third Bhumika called Tanumanasa. In here too, the preceding 2 steps are Shubhecha, which stands for Sadhana Chatushtayam, the Bahiranga Sadhana, and Vicharana Antaranga Sadhana, which is Manana contemplation. Nididhyasana in turn affects Sakshat Sadhana, self-realization, which is the 4th Bhumika, Sattvapati. The 5th, 6th, and 7th Bhumika called Asamshakti, Padartha Bhavana, and Turyaga are movements in Vairagya, dispassion. Quieter the mind, faster the dissolution of the mind onto the self. This intensity of Ananda keeps increasing till the total dissolution in Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan calls such a yogi as a yoga aruda, one who has accomplished Nididhyasana. The Advaita Vedanta path. While Yoga Shastra explains the preparatory disciplines, Advaita Vedanta presents a more knowledge-centered path. The journey begins with nishkama karma or righteous action, which gradually purifies the mind, a state known as chitta shuddhi. A purified mind then becomes qualified to approach a guru. The guru imparts spiritual knowledge through shravana, which means attentive listening to the teachings, followed by manana or rational reflection, during which doubts are removed through contemplation. Only after these two stages does one become qualified for nididhyasana or deep meditation. The paper therefore emphasizes that meditation becomes meaningful only after knowledge has first been heard, understood, and reflected upon. What happens during meditation? The research paper describes meditation as nididhyasana, which is a continuous contemplation of the truth expressed by the Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. This is not simply repeating a statement, but maintaining an uninterrupted, unbroken, and single-pointed awareness of one's true nature. Over time, this contemplation strengthens what the paper calls the Brahmakara Vritti, or the knowledge that one's true identity is Brahman. As this knowledge becomes firmly established, it gradually destroys the seedal ignorance or the fundamental ignorance that conceals reality. Thus, meditation does not create knowledge. Rather, it removes the ignorance that prevents its realization. Effects of meditation. The paper next explains the outcomes of successful meditation. Meditation leads first to self-realization, after which the individual becomes a Jivan Mukta, meaning one who is liberated while still living in the body. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find the Sthita Prajna Lakshana in 18 verses of the second chapter. Bhagavan there indicates the Jivan Mukta Lakshana. But Bhagavan does not define a Sthita Prajna. This definition of a Sthita Prajna is given in the Viveka Chudamani in verse number 428. The sort of mental, open quote, the sort of mental activity which admits only the identity of the self and Brahman, free from all limitations and devoid of duality, which is only concerned with pure knowledge, is called the illumination, prajna. One who has this steady illumination is known as a man of steady wisdom, sthita prajna, close quote. According to the paper, such a person possesses several defining characteristics. A Jivan Mukta is free from ego, remains calm under all circumstances, experiences constant inner bliss, and perceives unity rather than separation in the world. In the Viveka Chudamani, in verse 565, gives a definition of a Videha Mukta. Open quote. Just as darkness, which is distinctly different from sunlight, vanishes in the sun's effulgence, so too, this entire objective universe vanishes into Brahman. Close quote. This definition of a Videha Mukta is the affirmation of the seventh Bhumika of the Yoga Vasishta. Once and for all, his material constructs have all gone back into the subtle elements, which he has merged fully, while he has merged fully in the Paramananda of the self. When the body's existence, prarabdha, eventually comes to an end, the Jivan Mukta attains Videha Mukti, presenting complete absorption into pure consciousness. Thus, liberation unfolds in two stages. Liberation while living, followed by complete liberation beyond bodily existence. Meditation and consciousness. This represents the central philosophical conclusion of the paper. Advaita Vedanta teaches that through Nididhyasana one realizes Brahman or pure consciousness. This consciousness is described through three inseparable attributes. Sat, meaning existence, Chit, meaning pure knowledge or awareness, and Ananda, meaning bliss. An important point emphasized by this research is that meditation does not create consciousness. Rather, meditation removes ignorance, allowing one to recognize the consciousness that has always been one's true nature. Therefore, according to Advaita Vedanta, studying meditation is ultimately the study of consciousness itself. Conclusion. To conclude this research paper, presents meditation as far more than a method of relaxation. This has been validated through 3 standpoints of Ashtanga Yoga of Yoga Shastra, Saptabhumika of the Yoga Vashishta, and Advaita Vedānta Prakriya. Its ultimate purpose is self-realization through the removal of ignorance. The liberated individual lives with equanimity, inner freedom, and constant bliss, ultimately realizing the identity of the individual self with Brahman. Meditation is not an action, it is being. This statement encapsulates the entire philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, where meditation is understood not merely as a practice, but as the direct realization of one's true nature as consciousness. Thank you. Namaste.